Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans, thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction Renovation magazine. That's what it looks like. Well, I'm digital now, but that's what it used to look like. Still looks like that digitally. Got Christian Mammoth, JLL. I got Tim Holton behind me too. Chicken guy above me. Anyway, got Wagon Wash coming up on our next cover. You'll see it early next week when it posts. So maybe by Friday, but who knows? I'm thinking Monday or Tuesday. That's the beauty of digital. Don't have to worry about the printing press. Unbelievable. Anyway, I hope everybody had a relaxing holiday weekend. All you military families out there, thank you so much for your sacrifice. And listen, anybody that's out there, Marines, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, National Guard, police, anybody that's first responder, thank you so much for your help and keeping us safe out there. And a lot of people don't really. They think it's hey, barbecue, 3-day off. They forget about what the holiday's for. It's Memorial Day. Come from a military family. So listen, thank you so much. And for all the sacrifices out there, may they all rest in peace. Myself, I recharged my battery, went out on the lake, had a little barbecue, went and saw Top Gun Sunday night. What an awesome movie. No political BS, no wokeness, none of that stuff. It was just good old American patriotism. I think Tom Cruise had about 10 lines in the whole movie, but everybody clapped at the end. It was action, a little tearjerker. It was just a really good way. Especially Memorial Day weekend. It just was. And but $55 to go to the movie. And then another $42 for, let's see, I got a big pretzel. We took a picture of it. It was about this big. And a couple of Cokes. It was almost $100 to go to the movie for three of us. So, but packed. The movie, before I went in there, had already taken in $246 million. So I think it's going to be the biggest hit of, this summer. And just really, really, really good movie. And I urge you to go see it. You'll have a good time. You'll laugh. Like I said, a couple, corny stuff, but it was really, really good. And everybody clapped at the end. That was the most really, really amazing thing. So anyway, lacrosse weekend, Maryland Terps undefeated, national champs. Congratulations to them. They beat Cornell barely 11-9. And congrats to the women's lacrosse team at University of North Carolina. They took home the big trophy too. So I think they just won it a couple years ago as well. So congrats to both of those programs. Lax is over, and time for me to get back out on the old guys lax field and start sweating my tail off this summer. Man, it's hot. Sunday at about 5:30 and 7 o'clock games. Man, it's hot here in the ATL. I lose about 20 pounds every weekend. So anyway, everybody, it's Tuesday. Weekend's over. Got to get back to work and start the drive through this, the hot and steamy months of the summer. So with that said, got a really, really interesting lady with us today, down in the great state of Texas, down in the southern part, down by the coast in Houston. Her name is Karalynn Cromeens. She's with Cromeens Law Firm. She's the founder and principal. She's also an author, has a couple of books, and she's also the founder of the Subcontractors Institute. Karalynn, say hello to our audience out there on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back from a long weekend. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And I know you were down there at your cottage there down on the coast and, enjoying stuff. So, hopefully you had good weather and, I'll tell you, I could use it another day, to be honest with you. I woke up this morning to go, is this Sunday? Oh, it's Tuesday. That's right. But I definitely could have used another day, but that's okay. My son said, Dad, you're never going to retire. You're just going to hang out. I said, bro, there's no way I could just hit golf balls or fish. I'm going to have to do something. It's not in my nature, whether it's tinkering or something, I have no idea. But anyway, my son came home and he was born on my wife's birthday. They're both born on the same day. So he went and got a tattoo underneath his arm. He got his birth date with a 2 on it. And I thought it was pretty cool. And for his mom. So I got my arm bar and I got a little Taz with a hockey stick and lacrosse stick on my back, but that's it for me. They've been there for me for a long time, but he went and got his tattoo on Sunday and he was so proud of it. He has it and he's got his little bandage on there and but they're in Roman numerals. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the way they did it, and they came up with that whole design himself. And I said, remember, once it's on there, it hurts a lot worse to get, getting it taken off, but he's proud of his mom, and, wanted to show his gratitude. And so I thought it was a pretty cool thing to do. So, just a really good weekend, so all in all, anyway, we've got Karalynn. She's an attorney, and she's got a great story, working hard, growing up and so forth. And didn't even think about the, the legalese side of things when she was growing up. And, she and I had talked before, but Karalynn, here's the drill. You got to tell us your story. And then we'll talk about the last 24 months with the roller coaster. And then we'll close it out and, some positive thoughts or phrases. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Yeah. So I grew up in rural Illinois in a family with not very much money. My dad was a farmer. My mom was a waitress. And then I grew up, I started working when I was 14, bussing tables as from at the same restaurant as my mom. Eventually got other jobs, worked all kinds of jobs, Walmart, certified nursing assistant. I've kind of done a little bit of everything. I ended up going to college. But before that, I always worked for my uncles who are subcontractors, an irrigation subcontractor, electrical subcontractor. I ended up getting my undergrad at Carroll College in Waukesha, Wisconsin, which is a small liberal arts school. And I thought I was going to be a social worker, but decided that I wanted to continue. And I went to law school and moved to Texas and started law school, went to law school. And that was, a really brutal 3 years of my life, kind of like refer it to like prison, kind of doing your time, because law school is pretty rough. Got out in my last year of law school. My husband and I started our material supply company. And so although I had been familiar with construction when I grew up, I really had to get familiar with construction law and how it worked, the collections, all of it. And I've been doing that. We started that was 2001. And so I've been doing it ever since. That our business now has 3 locations that I do all the collection and contract work for. And so that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, though. Starting a business from the ground up, harder than having 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters. Harder than going to law school was starting a business from the ground up. And so I can truly appreciate what that takes. And so now that I've learned all the things the hard ways, I try to teach contractors and help them grow and run better businesses, because I've seen so many businesses go out of business because they didn't know how to collect their money. They didn't understand the contract that they signed. And, my grandfather's excavation company, I didn't know this until I got older, actually went out of business because he didn't collect some money that he was owed. And so my why is to help, these businesses that actually what I call the GTS, get shit done tribe, go out and do things, protect their businesses and everything that they've grown. So that's kind of my story. I should add one other thing. In January of 20, I did a trial for a client who was a great guy. He did everything he could on the project. He didn't understand the contract that he signed. I ended up taking the case to trial, and he lost, not because he did anything wrong, but because he didn't understand how the pay when paid clause work. And he ended up, extending his credit line, couldn't finish the job. They ended up getting a judgment for $400,000 against him. And that's when I got real pissed. I got mad. And so I wrote a book called Quit Getting Screwed. And it's all about negotiating and understanding a subcontract. So you understand what you're signing to, so you understand the risk and everything involved. And hopefully if he would have read that, it would kind of help save his company instead of being on the back end of it.
Yeah. Awesome book. You have another book too, though, right?
Yes, called Quit Getting Stiffed. And it's all about collections, and specifically in Texas. Along with these, I also founded the subcontractorinstitute.com, which I actually teach the 20 chapters of Quit Getting Screwed for free. There's like 80 free forms there, lien waivers, a bid form, like if you need forms in commercial construction, a change order form is all there. Also, there are the rules for all 50 states on how to file lien, because I think that's another underutilized tool that a contractor has, is their lien rights. So I'm trying to let everybody know about those as well.
Yeah. My stepdad, he just passed last month, and we had to read word salad that was in the contract for long-term care and all this stuff. And the insurance company, they made him do this walk for like 10 feet and said he didn't. And I asked my mom, how long have you been paying for that thing? She's like, oh, I don't know, 1970. I mean, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they, because of just this word salad stuff. And I just wish that, they would just make it as plain and easy, as far as so a second grader could read it and understand what a contract is. And number one, would save a lot of paper, a lot of time. But if you would just spell it out instead of having Latin. I mean, I took Latin in prep school, so I understand the concept where a lot of words come from, believe it or not. But it was just so confusing trying to read all this stuff. And the same thing goes with construction contracts. So, with your client, you said, he didn't understand the jargon that was in there. That having an attorney on your side. I look at attorneys as doctors. I've had my doctor for 25 years. He knows everything about me. Same thing with your attorney. You got to have the same vision. You got to have, he's kind of like your wingman. I just saw Top Gun. So your attorney's like your wingman, hopefully you never have to use him, but he's there if you do. And hopefully, he can get it done, and there's just so many things that are going on, and especially with, the last 24 months with COVID and, the roller coaster that, who's liable, who's not, if someone, God forbid, got ill or whatever, all of these different things. And you'd be amazed when the shutdown happened. I was talking to contractors, engineers, brands, everybody had to do that. Even myself, I was looking for, I didn't know how long it was going to last. So I was still looking at hotels for my summer retreats. And I had to put this little CDC guideline. My attorney said, hey, you need to put this little paragraph in your contract to protect yourself, because they're not going to buy your food except for a couple days before your event, but you've got to buy plane tickets and all this. And if there's a ban, you got to protect yourself. The hotel wasn't even, they're renting their rooms regardless. So, and I was talking to people and they hadn't even gone to the CDC site, and they're quoting CDC stuff. I'm like, I went to the CDC site, red, green, yellow. Do you know those things? Do you know all this stuff? This is what I need to put in there if you want me to sign a contract, which I didn't do anyway because I didn't know what was going to happen. But it's just amazing. And there's a lot of contractors out there, especially today, that you really, really need to know do your due diligence of reading your contract, getting your attorney involved to make sure that you're protected, because you do one bad deal, it could swamp your company. Am I right?
Absolutely. And so the main thing about what contracts are intended to tell you what to do. It's supposed to be an instruction manual. And you're right. A lot of them are written in Latin. They absolutely do not have to be, right? There's no reason that they have to be written this way. So I'm really on a push to change contracts to be more plain English so everybody can understand them. I do think before you sign, especially a commercial contract, that you have it reviewed and by someone who's familiar with construction and can tell you what those risks are. Like, what is the risk of a pay when paid clause? What is the risk of a termination for convenience clause? How would that affect you if that was enforced? And then you can decide what risk you want to take, right? Like, I don't want to take the risk of non-payment for the whole project, so I'm going to negotiate the pay when paid clause. And very interesting, the Virginia just passed a law that makes any pay when paid or pay if paid not enforceable. That's a huge step. A state has finally come out and say, no, we're not going to enforce that because the ramifications are so bad. And so that's something we're always fighting anyways. And then you add the roller coaster in there, and then you have, so two things on this that I try to prepare my guys for when we're talking about the effects of supply chain and other issues is that in your bid, you put a time limit on it, and you also put, or you put, hey, if my material price increases more than 2%, I can get that cost back. Or if I can't get guys, I get a longer time on the schedule, because those are the things that are kind of unpredictable right now that we're really trying to nail down. And what owners are trying to do is make general contractors sign GMP contracts, which is guaranteed maximum price. So I've seen a lot more of those than I've ever seen. And what that means is the owner's like, I don't want to take the risk of inflation and material costs and all that stuff. You take the risk. but owner, you're getting the benefit of the building. So I'm just telling you that this is what's out there. This is what I'm seeing. And so you put that in your bid. And if your bid is accepted, you also need to put it in the contract. Because I think another thing that we miss is that we think that we're hired to do the work that's described in our bid, and those are the terms. When actually, if your bid is accepted, you get a contract back. The scope of work is what you will do. And the bid and the scope can be two very different things. And so before we sign the subcontract, make sure we look at that scope of work, it matches our bid, and make sure we add to the contract, if this is important to you, that if there's any increase in material price, that you get that back. If not, if that's not in your contract, then you're on the hook to do the work regardless.
Yeah, we when I was up on the lake this weekend, we saw our grader there that is going to do our land, and he's like, his name is Red, big old guy, red beard. Anyway, he's like, "Hey, you guys ever going to break ground up there?" I'm like, "I can build a house right now. Everything's, you don't even know how much it's going to. How much are you going to do? You know my lot. You know the square footage of it. What are you going to run me?" He's like, "Well, David, diesel went up and this and that. And if I take the dirt over the dumps, and you got a lot of trees there, when you bought that land, it was probably half of what I'm going to charge you now. And I'm not even making any money because diesel's $5.19 and I've got, X amount of gallons. You understand your construction." And he was, we were just, kind of just rambling on it. But, being in construction right now, I mean, every day, everything goes up, yeah. I mean, just gas alone, just trying to get things done. And I had a contractor, she was a big contractor out of Australia a couple of months back. And she said that there was probably like 300 or 400 community of homes, probably spec homes. I don't know how big they were, but anyway, they had signed the contract. And then the contractor ended up saying, "Look, I can't build these homes for what we had before the roller coaster started, that this is what it was going to cost me to do these homes. But now this is what it is because of the part shortage and everything else." And he just walked away from it because it would have buried his company. And
that's another warning I want to give too. So when you get in a situation like that, before you make the decision to walk, you need to make an evaluation. Okay. Most guys think if they're owed money on a project and they just walk away from their money that they're owed. There's actually a whole nother part, right? So in that example, whoever they hired to do that contractor's work, if it costs them more than what you agreed to do the work for, you're on the hook for the difference, meaning that they could hire this contractor, move forward, and if it cost them $200,000 more than what you said you would do it for, they could sue you for that difference. So just make sure that before we make that decision to walk, what does this look like? Especially if you have a bond in place, like a bond guarantees your performance under the contract. So if you default and are terminated, then they'll file on your bonds and the bond company will pay out. And then the bond company will be chasing you to collect that money that you now owe the bond company, because a bond is not insurance to the contractor that gets it.
yeah.
So.
How did you come up with the idea for the Subcontractors Institute? How did that happen?
I really think that this stuff, because I kept seeing over and over again that nobody understood the contracts. Nobody understood the consequence of the contract. And I really wanted a way to get this information out there, where I know most guys, especially how busy they are, they don't have time to read. If I could put it out there in a video that they would watch it, it really is. I'm in the process of turning it into a nonprofit because I think the information is so important that it needs to go out there. And as far as I've seen, I haven't seen anybody else that is saying it in a plain English way like I am, right? That I can tell you what the result of this, like all of these things that are in these 20 chapters are actually pain points that either I went through, my company went through, or I had clients go through. So, I can tell you because I've been there and how to avoid these things. I just think if people knew all these risks, they'd be a little more, intentional about the risks that they ended up taking.
In through the the last 24 months, now that we're kind of opening and so forth, do you see, just in the construction arena itself, do you see it, obviously most contractors were essential, for the most part, at least in my world. Some weren't, depending on what state you're in, the regulations, and obviously Texas open state. I'm here in Georgia. Most of the construction went on, but what did you see, as far as as the roller coaster, it went in, you didn't know how long it was, then people trying to kind of figured it out. Then you had the spike, the low, all those peaks and valleys. I mean, what did was your phone off the hook, or what did you experience?
It was kind of off and on, right? So initially, right, everybody wanted to file liens and make sure that they were protected. So I got a lot there. And then people like figured out, they did all those protocols on the job site. They figured out how to go back to work slowly. There was a gap in, projects that were bid. And so that, all of that stopped just for a while, for like at least 6 months, where even if projects weren't starting, new projects that were ready to start weren't starting. And so, we had that pause there, but then it started to come back, and now it's been pretty consistent. What is being built has changed though, right? Not as much retail, way more gas stations, way more big, facilities for like Amazon, everything else like that.
Distribution centers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, distribution centers, just because everything has changed. The consumer has changed so much, right? And so I think that'll stay pretty consistent. I'm worried about inflation and everything kind of. The problem with that is that the owners still want to build, and they're going to use those GMP contracts and get unwary contractors. So really, really be on the lookout for those types of contracts. And if it doesn't matter to you, that's cool. But if it does, it could be very painful if you don't realize what you're signing.
When the shutdown happened, the first thing I did was, just like many people, they were doing stuff in their house. So I redid my deck. And I had a guy come out and call me. He's like, "Oh, $3,000." I'm like, "I can do this myself." So I went out and got the 10 by 2 by whatever, and I did the stairs, I did the deck. I think it was about a little less than 1,000. And then we put our house up for sale. We decided we got to finish the basement off, so we did that ourselves as well. And just like the wire, all right, just the 12-2, 14-2 gauge wire. Those rolls used to be about $60 a piece. They were 120 if you could find them. Paint, finding primer for paint, you couldn't find it. And it was just little gang box, the gang boxes, 25, 30 cents. They were 75 cents, and just little things like that. But it all adds up in your budget. So a person, let's say you're a retailer, you're going to open up, you had a contract for 20 or 30 locations that you were going to build out, that you're renovating, whatever it might be. That before the shutdown, everything was kind of in place. It was inflation was at 1 or 2, very low. And but now as things come in, that they expect, everything is, it's got to be, I don't even know what the word of that I even want to use for it, because it must be so frustrating, not only for the contractor, because he's bid the thing, he's done the quote, but didn't envision what what we were all going to go through. The owner kind of put things on hold, but then when they reopened up, they expected that to be to the same price, and those negotiations had to go through, because you don't want the contractor to cut any quality assurances, or the work performance that he's doing, just to make up the difference. You got to make it up somehow, or you're just going to have to eat it in your profit. And everybody's in business to make money. So if you don't make money, you can't grow your business. So it's kind of like a catch-22. And I think a lot of people went through that. And then plus just trying to get people on the phone. Hey, are those projects still on there? If you didn't have a Gmail or a cell phone for these people when that all started, you weren't gonna get in touch with people. You didn't even know what it was, because they saw your phone. Oh my God, he's gonna ask me about these 20 projects, or this vendor wants to get in, or believe me, I knew I was frozen too. So it was, but I'll tell you, I learned a lot about my business. That was the most amazing thing over the, because I was print face to face. Now I'm digital, and I don't miss the post office and printing the magazine, and that's a 5th century outfit in itself. And I think a lot of people learned about their businesses, and probably even yourself, and the people that are there now that we're out of the tunnel, basically getting back to our normalcy, that people learned a lot about their businesses. The biggest thing I think right now is just, are people going to go back to the office for a full week? Because they want to they'll go to concerts, they're going to go to the beach, they're going to go to sports games. They want to go back to the office. No, I don't want to go back to the office. That, you know, so if I'm a real estate developer, or if I'm owner of a building, you know, that had a bunch of offices and stuff, you know, those probably individuals are trying to figure out, you know, what they're going to do, because you don't want to alienate your sales force. You can always outsource it overseas, you know, but you might not get the high quality work. But then you don't want to lose your employees, because you want to, you want to keep your unit. Training people is just, you know, really, really tough. And you know, once you train someone, they leave, you got to start all over. And so it once again, it's that catch-22 thing. So I mean, are you seeing that in yourself, you know, with your clients and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everybody's trying to get people. I think, and I just, you know, I think the mentality has changed. Like before COVID, we were all so busy, we didn't realize it. We're trying to make money, more money, more money. Now we've been at home for a while, and now everybody likes that better, right? They'd rather have more time at home than money, which changes the dynamic as an employer. You know, like, okay, you don't want to raise, you'd rather have more days off. It's just completely different than where we were. And I think the construction industry has some dings against it anyways, especially if you're going to go out and be your own subcontractor and you can't get paid and you don't understand the contracts. So I'm really trying to help those guys, especially there are so many companies that started in the middle of the pandemic, whether that's commercial or residential, you know, contractors all over the country. And a lot of them have just started in the last 2 years and have been actually really successful at it. But because, you know, it was their opportunity to quit the job they didn't really like anyways and move forward to something on their own. And so setting those guys up with contracts, collection rights, you know, really being preventative has really been what I've been doing a lot of work of the last couple months too.
What was the coolest thing that you saw over the, you know, that's come out that, you know, other than, you know, what we talked about, you know, these little, you know, nuggets of information that you want to put in your contract, you think you saw?
Just how well everybody adapted. Like you said, it took time to get to know their business, got better. A lot of companies got better, you know, and those who didn't, you know, didn't make it. But if you were in construction, I think especially residential construction, it's been crazy for the last 2 years. They're not going to know what a normal market feels like again, because they've been, you know, I was talking to guys last year this time, and they were 6 months out, year out to even get to the projects lined up, because nobody was spending money going on vacation or anything. Everybody was staying at home. And now we're about 90 days. They're about 90 days, 120 days. So it's kind of getting a little bit back to normal. But, you know, just everybody adapting to, you know, doing, if you wanted to go do, you know, a bid or whatever, you didn't have to go, you could be virtual. It's just been amazing to see that, you know, some really great things have come out of this.
Oh yeah. You know, listen, I had a project manager, you know, a year ago, in the middle of the thing. He said, you know, one day I was in Dubai, South Africa, UK, Central America, Canada, did a couple walkthroughs, and all that was done in one day. You know, before the shutdown, it would have taken me weeks to do. So just like what we're doing right here, this is here to stay. You know, it's not going anywhere. You know, but you know, you're still going to have to, you know, get on a plane or, you know, do it. Listen, if I drive, you know, 5 hours is my limit. Now it's probably up to 6 to 8. You know, I had 2 shows I was going to go do this month in June. One was in Las Vegas and one's in Chicago. That ticket before the shutdown to Chicago from Atlanta, Delta, I'd go nonstop everywhere, was about $275. I always book them out 30 days in advance. So $275, $300 in O'Hare. It was like $875, I think.
Yeah.
And then Las Vegas used to be about $350, depending on, you know, what time of the day I was going to leave. And I've walked all these shows. I mean, sometimes I'd be in Las Vegas 15 times a year for events. I've walked them so many times that they're a 4 or 5 hour walk for me. So I take like one of the last flights out of Atlanta, get a dumpy little hotel, get my shower, go to the show, and then I knew there was like about a 2:30 or 3:30 at the, you know, a nonstop before all the red eyes at, you know, starting at night that I would catch back. That ticket was like $1,100.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. And so I called at the end of last week. I was talking to a couple of people, and they are you going to so and so? And I was like, no, it's not worth it to me to go for 4 hours to spend that kind of money. I know who all these guys are. And I wanted to go to see people because I haven't seen anybody in like 2 years, except maybe on Zoom or on these digital platforms. But you know, I was like, you know, and I think that even like the trade show side of things are going to be more regionalized, where, you know, you'll drive, you won't fly. And you know, something's going to give. And we were having discussions this weekend when I was talking to the grader. He's like, David, we're about $1 away before the horse manure is going to hit the fan, because people are going to start, my guys are going to start calling me and saying, hey, I got to feed my family. So I'm not coming in today because I'm not spending money on gas. And I think he's right on the money. It's about it. We were at 409. My son came in at 469 in Charleston. And, when he gets over, 5 or whatever, I can remember when in the 90s, I think gas was 88 cents. It was cheaper than a gallon of milk, But if you're a contractor, you got trucks, you got excavators, you got, all the subs, they all have to, and it's, my wife keeps coming home from the store. The short storage shelves are getting barer and barer. And that, granted, this was
up on everything.
Yeah, so it's going to get to a point where something's going to have to give. And and then once thing, that might be another thing that you have to put into your contract, if things, are going in there. I mean, I don't know, but, maybe, hey, we have to put a buffer in there because of the cost of gasoline and, to run my machines, hey, look, it's just the reality of it. And now you have like little video stuff on, YouTube or whatever, right? For these bullet points, correct?
Yeah. Actually, I do a bunch of webinars. So there's a bunch of the YouTube videos I just did one on how to handle defective work claims that was just posted. I've done one on warranties, both residential and commercial. I mean, lien laws, collections. There's a whole collection of topics that I've taught on.
And where would people find those?
Just on my YouTube channel for the Cromeens Law Firm. Free information. I also have the Quit Getting Screwed podcast, where the big push I've been on right now is I interview attorneys from all across the country and dive in to their lien laws specifically for their states, and then just kind of other hot topics that they're seeing, subcontracts, trying to make them more plain English, trying to make them not so one-sided. It's kind of an interesting view just from attorneys from all across the country, basically the same thing that everybody's saying. But it's good to have those experts, and if you needed to contact, all the information's there. Like I said, I'm just really trying to get this information out there so contractors can protect themselves and run better businesses.
So if a contractor was out there and he had some burning question or just wanted to, bump something up, how would they get in touch with you?
So the CromeensLawFirm.com, which is CROMEENS, or our office number is 713-715-7334. And they can schedule a time to talk to me. I do free consultations. I do all of the things, most of them on a flat fee, like contract creation, contract review. So if that's something that you need, I'm here to help. Absolutely.
Awesome. For me, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at davidc@ccr-mag.com. We're always looking for content. Send it to me. We'll find a place for it. I always say it on my, on these episodes, if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win. You don't send me something, I can't get it. Just like, Karolynn's publicist reached out and, said, hey, we want to get her on the podcast. So boom, here they are. So if you send me something, I'll come back to you, not right away, but I answer all my emails. So, I always check the junk and, the spam folder, and, you never know where they might get caught up, but I definitely will find it. And, we just had another 2.5 million people hitting the site, eating content, that is king. So send me something, we'll find a place where we can get you some digital link. So Karalynn, if you were going to leave our audience with one positive thought or phrase, what would it be as we close out this episode?
You got this. You're worth every penny that you work for, and learn how to protect it. The trades are a great way to make a living, and like I said, I'm here to help protect it and grow your business.
Awesome. She's got you. She's got your back. You got this. I'm right there with you. So everybody out there, listen, like I said, Memorial Day weekend's over. Hope you all recharge your batteries. Summer months are coming in. Construction is going to still keep on cruising along. Every day's, I get up in the morning, political business, by the end of the day, I'm mentally drained, and, it's 2022. It's actually been a very exciting 6 months already. It's amazing that I'm even talking about June, and, God, I'm going to be 59 here at the end of June, and I can't even believe 59 years has already passed. I feel like I'm still, 20, or I can still remember that stuff. And, I got a little less hair, but I still look the same. And, listen, time flies. So if you're not having fun out there, smile. Like I told you this weekend, don't work, enjoy yourself, and get ready for the summer months, and kick tail, and take things as they come. You can't control the gas prices. You can't control this. You're just going to have to roll with the punches, but eventually something's going to give. They're all going to come back down. I mean, that's inevitable. It's just, whenever the precipice is going to come, people start falling off the cliff, going up just about ready to go. Something's going to be done. I really think, it's, or people are going to take it in their own hands. That's the American way. You got to pull your outside the bridges, and you got to figure out something how to get it done, and just like Top Gun, they were trying to figure out this. I'm not going to give the movie away, but they had this really cool mission, and they had to get in there and figure it out. They had to find the right team to get together, and but hey, that's the American way. That's why it was great. It was very patriotic, and it made me feel good being American, and construction's what it's all about, because without contractors, this country wouldn't be what it is today. So, so with that said, Karalynn, thank you so much for being your guest. And listen, I look forward to meet you, in person. And to all you out there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk, we hope to see you on another episode down the road. And with that said, Karalynn, say goodbye from South Texas down in Houston.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah, and I'm going to say goodbye from Sugar Hill, just below the Beaufort Dam on Lake Lanier, about 30 miles north of downtown Atlanta. And everybody, hey, have a great rest of the week, and we will see you next time on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Karalynn, see you later. Thank you so much.
Bye.